Welcome to another episode of That One Movie Podcast, also known as TOMP, the weekly show where we discuss movies, games, and TV shows in addition to kind of whatever. Mainly we just shout nonsense into our microphones.
Wow, they all clicked away, Holden. Welcome to the new studio, Holden. Wow, it's been a long time coming.
By that, it's Jimmy's living room.
Yeah, it's the living room with a couple of microphones. It is 199 episodes and counting, and we finally
couldn't have waited for the 200th for this one. This one had to be done now.
We had to bring it for a movie that came out 5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
But hold on, we got some good stuff coming today, featuring non-spoiler and spoiler reviews of Into the Spider-Verse, because in a few weeks we get Across the Spider-Verse, and we are going to talk a little bit of Succession through the Connor's wedding episode. So if you know, you know.
Season 4, episode 3.
Mm-hmm. There we go. A little bit more Succession talk, hopefully, to come. Otherwise, Holden, some news. We got new trailers for Oppenheimer and The Meg 2. Of course, Holden's really been excited about that. He has not been able to be quiet about that. We got some Superman casting. What's going on with that Freaky Friday sequel? What if Holden and I switched bodies? I'd be getting the better end of that deal.
Hard-hitting news this week.
Oh, yeah. Mel Gibson's back, you know. And
did he ever go?
Did he ever go? Good question. I thought he was already back for Passion of the Christ too. So
yeah, but that's been in the works for like half a decade, I think.
Yeah. So there we go. John Wick 5 stuff, possibly. I don't know, but we'll get into that in a little bit. That One Movie Podcast. Tom.
All right, Jimmy. First, we got to do some toms. The toms. Toms is a rapid-fire segment where we rate the news of the week in the world of entertainment on a scale of 3 famous Toms: Brokaw, Bombadil, and Bergeron. And Brokaw's the highest, Bombadil's the lowest, and Bergeron is somewhere in between. Jimmy, let's get to it.
Wow, you did that from memory, because I know I did not put it down in the notes. You did a good job, Holden.
No,
I'm impressed.
I usually do have the entire script out in front of me, which is why we already redid the intro once. But no, I did that one from memory.
Yeah, well, awesome. Look, we got the first off trailers. Oppenheimer, Holden. This movie, it's a bomb. All right, I feel like you are not super excited about this movie.
No, okay, so here's the thing. Like, it's Christopher Nolan, so obviously I am excited to an extent. I'm also like not super into the idea of a 3-hour long historical biopic. It's kind of clashing in my head. The Christopher Nolan is winning, but that's why I am ultimately more excited for Barbie. And I think that's also the other thing, is like Barbie's coming out the same day. I'm just much more into that movie. So I don't know. I'm
much more into Barbies than bombs.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
believe it or not.
Yeah. Look, yeah, I'm excited for this movie. Again, 3 hours. I think I'm less excited with this trailer than I was beforehand. Does seem like it's a little bit more of the drama part of it. I still have the question of like how much.
You just want the explosions, Jimmy.
Yeah. I want to see everything blow up. I want to see people get disintegrated. Do you think we'll even? I bet they don't even like show anything of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I bet it's like just drops it, and then it's
they shouldn't. I don't think they should. I don't think they should show people melting.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. I think it'll just drop it, and then it's like the bomb of consequences.
Yeah,
for Oppenheimer's actions,
and that's when it becomes black and white.
Yeah. How much of this is going to be in black and white? It probably says somewhere online, but I think, I'm excited for it. Cillian Murphy looks great. How old is Cillian Murphy in real life? Because
he's looked the same
Murphy
for 2 decades.
He's 5'9". I actually
That's not what we wanted. 46.
He's 5'9" years old. 46. They did a good job of making him look really old in this. I also put in Cillian Murphy.
They knew what you were talking about.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it looks interesting. I'll be interested to see if they take the approach of, hey, the bomb absolutely is going to cause the end of World War II, or if it'll be more like nuanced than that, I guess. I mean, there are arguments to be made that maybe you didn't need to drop the bomb, there are like there's really interesting. Oliver North, obviously controversial person, but he's got the Netflix show. It's like the Real History of America, something like that, the Untold History of America. And he's got one about the atomic bomb that is really interesting. And one of the parts that stood out to me was Harry Truman like kept changing how many people he said the bomb saved through the years. At first it was like 100,000. He's like, oh, dropping this bomb saved 100,000 lives. And then like he cuts the clips where like later on and tells the date and tells us so that it's like it gets up to like 1 million or 2 million and it started at like 100,000. So it's like, I don't know, is he just promoting a certain propaganda? I'm interested to see Christopher Nolan's take. I think Cillian Murphy is going to be excellent. We get a lot of Matt Damon in this, some glimpses of some other people.
Emily Blunt.
Yeah, we see some Einstein. We recognize who he is, unless you're Holden.
Yeah, I watched this trailer 2 or 3 times and did not know it was Einstein until after the last time I watched it. So, even though he has a very recognizable like mustache and hairstyle and all of that,
But yeah, we haven't made any bomb jokes yet, so.
No.
If you make one, it could blow up in your face. So.
Okay, great. Glad.
I am going to go. I'll still give this a Broca. I'm still excited for this movie, more so than Holden, that's for sure.
I think for me, another thing about it's like this trailer is like too long. I think
I agree.
I think it just goes on for like a minute too long or something. Weird pacing, but that's the trailer. That's not the movie. So yeah, I'll give it a Broca.
Awesome.
Sure.
Sweet Holden.
Why not?
Things that you're equally excited about. The Meg 2, Holden.
Why are we doing this trailer? Jake?
Why are we doing it? I just thought it was kind of a funny trailer.
Have you watched the first one?
No, have you?
No. I was like, don't get me wrong. There's been several times where I've picked a trailer that Jimmy's just not into, but I like. Usually it's like more of just a random movie, but like neither of us have seen the first one.
Well, this just looks ridiculous to me.
It does,
Holden.
yeah, it is. It's pretty funny.
I was telling you before the podcast, but I thought this was initially a trailer for like the Prehistoric Planet or whatever the show is on Apple TV
Jon
Plus.
Favreau Apple TV Plus thing.
It's Jon Favreau, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, the Apple let him out of his Disney let him out of his cage for Apple.
Putting his Lion King photorealistic CGI to use.
Well, glad that something came out of that. Speaking of movies we haven't seen, never saw that one.
No.
I thought it was that, and then the Meg eats the T-Rex.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh, that's just the Meg. Also, rewatching it, I'm like, why is there a T-Rex in like this tropical environment that does not seem like its natural habitat? Going into the water, ridiculous. Obviously not.
Jimmy's a T-Rex expert.
Yeah. You know it means tyrant lizard king, right?
Oh, no way.
Hey, I got a Lego T-Rex right up there, right outside camera.
Turn the camera. Go
just
mess your setup to go show the audience.
Yeah, in my living room, where our living room studio. But I just think it looks funny. Jason Statham like doing like barrel rolls on a jet ski or whatever he's doing.
Yeah, whatever he does there. That was funny. He there's the bit where he kicks the Meg in the face and then he's like crawling up the dock as it's getting destroyed or whatever. Like it is very silly looking.
Like, this is the biggest megalodon anybody's ever seen. I'm like, well, nobody really saw any megalodons until the last movie.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess that means it's bigger than the first movie's megalodon.
Megalodons, I guess. Spoiler for the Meg.
Yeah, you didn't have to say that. I knew that too, but spoilers for the audience in case you really want to watch the Meg 1.
Yeah, the Meg 1. And they're like, that's even bigger than the other 2 that were in the... And then there's a bunch of them, and then there's like an octopus squid.
Yeah, that was weird. That seemed like a spoilery thing, like because obviously this whole series, this is these movies or whatever.
It's a series now, Holden.
Yeah. It's about sharks, but then it looks like there's a giant squid of some sort. So
see, that's where you got it wrong, Holden, because it's actually about people.
Oh yeah,
the Meg. It's really
family.
Just it's really introspective about our species and our downfalls.
Maybe he's playing Shaw from the Fast and Furious movies.
Oh, we can only hope.
Yeah.
How about this? How about you just don't go to the beach with the giant megalodons? Also, why is a megalodon up on the beach eating the T-Rex? Like, it's gonna get beached.
I mean, it's just doing the Jurassic World thing with the big old monster in that.
The big old megalodon.
Is that a megalodon in that?
I don't know. It's they probably megalodon mixed with a raptor. Probably.
got
Look,
chameleon
this
DNA.
looks terrible. This is a bombadil, right? Like,
After building up, like, oh yeah, this movie looks funny, it's all this ridiculous Bombadil.
well, I thought Hobbs and Shaw looked good too, and that was terrible. So
No, I mean, I also agree. It looks bad. I'm going Bombadil. This is coming from someone who likes the Fast and Furious movies too, but giant shark movies crosses the line for me.
yeah, no bigger than Jaws.
Yeah.
All right, Holden. Hollywood Reporter. You heard of this guy?
No.
Headline reads, searching for Superman inside the quest to cast DC's new top hero. All right. Looks like, there was a lot of talk of Nicholas Hoult being him.
Yeah.
Looks like he's actually going to be Lex Luthor.
That's what I was saying. I was kind of following a lot of the hubbub on Twitter yesterday because I'm a huge Twitter head. Just kidding. I hate Twitter, but it is what it is. Nicholas Hoult. It seems like he's playing Lex Luthor. I mean, he's a great actor. It'd be an interesting casting for Lex Luthor, but I guess have a youngerish actor play Lex Luthor. You can have him around for longer. So might be smart.
Nicholas Hoult, I like him. I don't know if I like him as Lex Luthor. I can see I can see him as Lex Luthor. I feel like we kind of already got that with what's his name,
Jesse Eisenberg.
Jason Eisenberg, and I actually didn't hate that performance. I know a lot of people hated it. It was whatever for me. I would like to see Lex Luthor with more of a presence, and I feel like Nicholas Hoult kind of goes more in that Jesse Eisenberg lane. He will not go that far. I would think.
Yeah,
but I just see him more in that I'm just a crazy lunatic thing more than I am like a presence in a room, genius dominating the thing. But I also really don't care about the character Lex Luthor all that much. He's not that significant to me, so I don't have strong feelings about it. But I'm kind of at the Bergeron level for Nicholas Hoult, Mr. Renfield.
Yeah, I mean, after rewatching the Justice League cartoons, I'm kind of I'm that portrayal, the voice done by Clancy Brown and all of that. I love that version of Lex Luthor.
It's Clancy Brown?
Yeah, it's Clancy Brown.
Superman, you're after me money.
No, he's great, but that version of Lex Luthor, I like it. He's very domineering. Clancy Brown is a very, can have an intimidating voice when he's not Mr. Krabs, but then he's also very buff. Obviously he's not going to be taking on Superman one-on-one, but he's very an intimidating figure to other people. So I don't know. That's where my mindset at is currently for Lex Luthor, but I don't know. I like Nicholas Hoult. I think he could put in a lot of good work with it. So I'm optimistic with that casting. And obviously this is just a strong rumor at this point. I think it's been it's like an audition kind of thing where maybe it was confirmed he auditioned, but no casting for sure yet.
I didn't realize he was runner up for the Batman with Robert Pattinson.
Oh yeah, I feel like I kind of remember that talk. It was him and there were a couple others, but yeah.
And we just got done talking about Cillian Murphy, who was runner up for Batman Begins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's all connected.
It's all connected, Holden. One big hive mind.
This Holly weird, am I right?
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
For our BoJack Horseman fans out there. David Cornswet. I don't know if I'm saying that right. The Cornswet. Somebody drive
Cornswet, yeah. Dropped it in the
Cornsway. I don't know.
Whatever.
He's the guy who plays the projectionist in Pearl. He miit be playing Clark Kent.
Yeah, I saw the name initially come up, but it wasn't until I was screen cheating and looking at your notes here that I was like, oh, that's the guy from Pearl. But yeah that's cool.
And Pearl is the name of Mr. Krabs' son.
Oh, yeah,
so it's all connected
daughter.
again. Clint.
But close.
All right. Shoot, I thought I had it.
That would have been great.
It would have been.
I almost landed it.
I almost landed it. Shoot, Clancy Brown. All right. Look, I just remember him being suave. I don't have that long of a lasting impression of him.
I remember him being good in the movie, but yeah, I mean,
not invincible though.
No,
in that
certainly
movie.
not. Not really the Superman type in that movie.
But yeah, I mean, we'll obviously stay up to it. It's a huge decision. I mean, clearly Superman's going to be one of the building blocks of the DC universe unless James Gunn just decides to kill him off.
Yeah.
Which, I guess Zack Snyder technically did, but just brought him back for the next one. So we'll see. I'm excited, and I trust James Gunn. So there we go. And whoever James Gunn delegates casting to.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he has done such a great job of writing based on the actors that he has.
Mm-hmm.
So I would expect no less from whoever plays Superman Legacy, and the DCU.
Yeah, that's why I'm optimistic with any casting they choose, because I just think James Gunn is going to nail it, at least for his vision. So
there we go.
Yeah, Brokaw for me.
Holden, yeah, Brokaw, if I didn't say that. Willem Dafoe, who we've definitely stated on this podcast would be our choice to play Holden in his own biopic.
Yeah.
But Willem Dafoe is apparently, before he does that, is joining Beetlejuice 2, which I still haven't seen Beetlejuice 1.
Really?
But yeah, I
feel like we maybe mentioned that before.
That I haven't seen Beetlejuice 1.
Yeah, because we talked about Beetlejuice 2 before.
Yeah, but Beetlejuice 2, Willem Dafoe's on it. We also talked about Jenna Ortega being on there. Makes sense because she was part of the Wednesday Addams series with Tim Burton. So Beetlejuice 2, here we go. Michael Keaton, Jenna Ortega, Willem Dafoe, stacked cast.
And it sounds like, and I wrote it down here, it looks like Tim Burton is returning to direct it too. So yeah. I mean, Tim Burton's kind of had a mixed track record in the last decade and a half or so. So, but I mean, he is the guy who originally directed the original. So
yeah. Remember when he didn't direct Nightmare Before Christmas?
Yeah,
nobody does. He didn't direct that movie.
Shout out to Henry Selick.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go Brokaw because I'm more interested in watching this and catching up on Beetlejuice 1 because of this. Also, Beetlejuice, the theatrical play, is coming to our
Sioux Falls,
our Washington Pavilion here. So maybe I'll see that then.
Apparently, I've listened to the soundtrack. It's really good. I've never seen it.
So I'm going Brokaw. Did you say anything?
Yeah, I'll give Brokaw, of course. Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, sweet. Holden, speaking of sequels to old movies, Freaky Friday. You ever see this? Lindsay Lohan.
I actually watched this for the first time like a year and a half ago.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Was never a childhood movie for me.
Oh, it definitely was for me. Big. My mom and my sister were big fans of this one. All right, as well as any mother-daughter combination in the United States. But I remember this one being a road trip favorite of ours that we would watch constantly. Went on the road, so I remember a lot of moments, right? Because they like open up a fortune cookie, and then that's how they change places. Or something.
Yeah, it's something weird like that.
I just remember the kid puts the chopsticks in his mouth. He's like, "Look, I'm a walrus." That's what I remember. I don't remember much besides that, but that's what I remember from that movie. I remember liking it as a kid. I don't remember a lot, even though I have to have seen this movie at least 5 times. But I told my sister this when she called for Mother's Day on the phone, not to me because I'm not her mother, but I was with my mother when she called
in the room.
And I told her this, and she's like, "What? No way!" So I think it's exciting. It's not officially in the works or anything, but it's like, hey, we should do this. That would be money for us. So
yeah, I mean, something I'd probably be interested in. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like Beetlejuice 2, where it's like, do we really need a sequel to this? But I mean, we're getting sequels to everything, so why not? Why not have it be with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan, the ones who started it?
It's gonna be. Do you think it's still gonna have Freaky Friday in the name, or do you think they're gonna change the day of the week? Saturday,
Twisted Tuesday,
Scary Saturday, Spooky Saturday, Spooky Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know.
Taco Tuesday.
It would be kind of lame if it was just like Freaky Friday 2. We need a more creative name here.
Freaky weekend, freaky all the weekend.
But this also just screams Disney Plus original.
It does,
right?
Yeah, it does.
Like this is a Hocus Pocus 2 situation.
Yeah, Disenchanted. Has that come out yet?
Yeah, that did come out.
I feel like that was a big deal when it started, and then I've not heard anything since.
I never watched Enchanted 1, so.
Oh, well. I've been dreaming of a true love's kiss.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a Bergeron.
Yeah, I'll give it a Bergeron too. I think the cynical part of me is like, why do we need this? But yeah, have them come back if you do.
Yeah. Holden, Pedro Pascal. He's been everywhere. He's there. He's here. He's here. He's there. He's wear, as they say about Roy Kent and Ted Lasso.
He's been in my favorite show of 2023 so far and my least favorite show of 2023 so far.
Wow, I can't believe you hated The Last of Us and loved The Mandalorian
Right.
Season 3 so much, Holden. He is going to not only be in Gladiator 2 that we talked about recently, but he's also going to be in the next film from Zach Cregger, who you may know as the director of Barbarian, Holden,
Your,
which was
favorite movie of last year.
my favorite movie of last year that no one likes nearly as much as me.
People like it.
People like it. The people closest to me, other than you, Holden, did not like it when I made them watch it.
That's rough.
But he's going to be making a movie called Weapons, which apparently I have this is what it says on the Hollywood Reporter. Weapons is described as an interrelated multi-story horror epic that tonally is in the vein of Magnolia, the 1999 actor cramp showcase from filmmaker Paul Thomas Anderson. You ever heard of this guy? I've never seen Magnolia. Have you?
No, I haven't.
But
hate to burst your bubble. We have mentioned this before on the podcast.
We mentioned this?
Yeah, we did. Not the Pedro Pascal thing.
Oh yeah, that he was just making this movie. Yeah. We did talk
I
about
don't care. I do that, and we do that all the time anyway. This is like the one time I remember that we did it before.
Well, normally we're not listening to each other, but now that we're in the same room,
Yeah, that's true.
yikes!
We don't have any. This is very productive. Honestly.
Yeah. When was the last time we were in the same room? Like Game of Thrones time? It's been at least 3 years.
No, we did it. I feel like we did it more recent than that because we did it. I don't know.
That's a mistake if we did. This is a Brokaw, obviously, Holden.
Yeah, I'll give it a Brokaw too. I mean, I may not have loved Barbarian as much as you. It was an honorable mention at the end of the year for me, though. I'll give it a Brokaw.
Love that movie. Even better the second time.
Nice. I need to watch it again.
Yeah. Look, speaking of Barbarian, Holden, Georgina Campbell, who plays the lead in Barbarian, I can't remember the lady's name. She's going to be in M. Night Shyamalan's Daughters movie, her directorial debut called The Watchers. Holden, you have what it's kind of this movie is about. You want to take it away?
Yeah, I just wrote it down here. So it's apparently based on a novel by A.M. Shrine and adapted by
A.M. Shine.
M. Shine.
A.M. Shine, like, the sun is blasting through your windows in the morning. A.M. Shine.
Oh, yeah,
There
good
you go.
one. And adapted by Ishana Night Shyamalan. The story follows an artist, played by Dakota Fanning, named Mina, who gets stranded in an expansive, untouched forest in Western Ireland. When Mina finds shelter, she unknowingly becomes trapped alongside three strangers who are watched and stalked by mysterious creatures each night.
So it's an So it sounds like an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Clearly, we know where she gets her influence.
I wish. So M. Is Knight the middle name, or is that part of the last name? If she's Ishana Night Shyamalan. Either way, it's just a really cool name.
Yeah.
Ishana Night Shyamalan.
Now this is I Night Shyamalan.
I Night Shyamalan. Nice. Sounds cool. Sounds like an M. Night movie. I think M. Night's producing it. So
that makes sense.
Directorial debut. We've had a lot of We've had a lot of good one of those recently.
Maybe
I'm
it'll be
excited
better than Knock at the Cabin.
The Watchers. It is not the sequel to The Watcher on Netflix. So
Oh yeah.
there we go. I'll give it a Brokaw, actually.
Yeah, I'll give it a Brokaw too. Yeah, Georgina Campbell, she's great.
Good luck to her. Holden Mel Gibson's back. He's back at it. He's making Passion of the Christ too. He's also making not Hacksaw Ridge. He's making Flight Risk with everybody's favorite actor, Mark Wahlberg. All right.
Yeah.
It's an action movie, action thriller. Where is this? Where is it talking about? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'm looking at this article here. It's an action thriller. All right. The films will see Wahlberg. This is the deadline. The film will see Wahlberg play a pilot transporting a dangerous criminal for trial. Additional casting is underway. There you go. It sounds like that Plane movie.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
It does. Like, literally, that sounds like the plot to Plane.
But they're like, oh, this is going to be amazing. And I think they described having Mark Wahlberg and Mel Gibson team up is electric or something. I didn't realize, I forgot they were in Father Stew together and the Daddy's Home franchise.
Yeah, I remember Daddy's Home franchise. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of, I mean, whatever. I don't really have a strong feeling on either one of them. So This is like the biggest Bergeron I think I've run into in a while.
I feel like one thing you can count on is Mel Gibson's movies are all just over the top ridiculous and entertaining at the very least. Like Hacksaw. Did you ever see Hacksaw Ridge?
I don't think I've seen a single Mel Gibson directed movie.
Hacksaw Ridge is great. It's wonderful. It's like an actually like decent drama, and then it's just the almost over the top insensitive war, like realistic. People's faces are just blowing up in other people's faces, and just random jump scares that are just ridiculous. It's great. It's hilarious. Some of the worst green screening I've ever seen in a movie, but it is so fun. I've heard interesting, sad, but also like a relatively good drama. Andrew Garfield's pretty good. It's worth a watch. Like his movies are worth a watch.
Have you seen Apocalypto?
I've not seen Apocalypto. Emily's seen Apocalypto.
I've heard interesting things about that movie too.
Yeah.
So I've not seen Passion of the Christ either.
I just remember that movie being so loud and violent. It's just long. I've never seen even Braveheart, so I gotta see some of these.
I think I bought that on DVD at like a garage sale. I've never bought it or never watched it though.
So I'm gonna Bergeron. He seems like a just kind of insane person, but he channels some of that insanity into his movies in positive ways. So I think it might be entertaining.
Sure.
Fast 10. Well, then not Fast X.
Fast
not the iPhone X. It was the iPhone 10. Okay. iPhone 10, Fast 10,
X,
Mac OS 10.
Got it.
All right, Fast 10 reactions. We got the first reactions. Apparently, it's ridiculous. Who would have thought that? Some people say, "Look, the series it's back on track. It's back in the fast lane.
Back in the sweet spot.
Back in the fast lane, baby." Other people are like, "No, it's bad," and they're like, "Everything's real. Vin Diesel and everything's real. You better." When I was in Rome and there's a Ford GT Mustang and I was saying action. It was the most real thing I've ever seen, and I love Rome and I want to do the Hannibal movies.
Well, I wrote down the note here that in the article that was linked, the director Louis Leterrier, I think is his name. He mentioned that apparently the giant ball from the trailer, at least to an extent, was real. There was a giant ball on fire rolling around
in Rome, which is nice. Just knocks over all these timeless ruins.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, the reaction sounded exactly like what I was expecting. I am very excited.
You know what this makes me think of?
What?
This makes me think we need a Fast and Furious in ancient Rome with chariot races, the Circus Maximus.
I feel like we've mentioned this.
We talked about this with Predator.
Maybe I talked about this with someone else.
But
I don't know.
I think we need a Ben-Hur-esque Fast and Furious movie at Circus Maximus, the largest stadium ever built, 200 to 300,000 people there.
Fast and the Furious 0.5. 0.5 is because
Fast
it's in the
Furious.
ancient Rome.
I was gonna say use Roman numerals, but they already did. They already did with the 10. Maybe like
you mean
Fast
the X?
The X. Fast and Furious 4 BC. Fast and Furious 11 BC. Speaking of Fast and Furious, Holden, apparently Vin Diesel's been talking about. Well, first off, I guess Bergeron for the reactions. I don't know. Vin Diesel's like. Maybe this is now going to be a trilogy to end.
Yeah, well, when I was reading it initially, when I saw that like the headline, I just assumed it was Vin Diesel like wanting it to be a trilogy, but it sounds like it's like a studio thing.
Oh,
Or, like the studio wants to draw it out.
Well, drawing it out. I think we've already passed that. Yeah. Michelle Rodriguez said it's 3 times in any story. All right. Well, there you go. So I don't know this is Vin Diesel saying going into making this movie, the studio had asked it for a 2-parter, and after the studio saw this one, they said, yeah, could you make it a trilogy? So I don't know. I want to see the Hannibal movies from Vin Diesel, Hannibal Barca. So I don't want to see this.
Sounds like you won't be getting it until past 2027.
Golly, gee whiz.
Because I know they've said that Fast 11 is coming out 2025. So
2025?
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. 2 years. I keep thinking it's 2022. I literally forgot what year it was yesterday. I was thinking it was 2022. I'm like, wait a second. I think it's 2023.
We're several months into it at this point, Jimmy.
We're almost
you can't be
halfway
writing down
done.
May 2022 on your forms anymore. No excuse.
All right, fine. I'm going to give that a bombadil. I don't want to see any of these ended.
I'm giving it a Brokaw. Bring more. Keep them going.
All right, Holden. John.
I can't wait till we discuss this next week. Fast 10.
Yeah, that's next week. Episode number 200. We had Spiral from the Book of Saw for episode 100. We had Fast 10.
Couple of classics.
This John Wick 5 will depend on a trip to Japan and a bottle of whiskey from IGN.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying maybe it could happen. I mean, obviously, John Wick 4 kind of seems like it should be the final chapter. I'm for this, I think, ending. You know,
I think we should end it where it ended.
Yeah.
Like, do your spinoffs, whatever, that's fine. But like Keanu Reeves can't keep doing it. It was a good ending. And it made a lot of money, which is why the studio is wanting it. It's the highest grossing. So.
And it's the best one. Like,
Yeah, it
it's
is the
literally
best
like, I watched that. I'm like, you are not going to be able to make a better one of these.
No.
Like,
There's no way.
it's like them coming back and saying, we're going to do another Top Gun. Like, no, Top Gun Maverick is the best version of that these things are ever going to get. You just need to quit while you're ahead, quit while you're on top. So, John
It's like
Wick
them saying
5.
they want to make another Tron movie. Tron Legacy is the best one you're gonna get. No, I'm kidding.
Are they making another Tron movie?
They are, yeah.
Okay.
With Jared Leto.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, I think that's a thing. I think that's a bombadil for me. No more John Wick, please.
Yeah, I'll give it a bombadil as well.
Gosh.
I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna make it go with Chad Stahelski, which would be worse if they make it without him. But I don't think he's gonna want to make another one.
Yeah. He's just going to see, what's Stahelski? They made this without me.
Oh my god!
I got to play the wah, wah, wah
We got a
trombones.
soundboard now.
We do have a soundboard. Let me see if I can find it. I won't be able to hear it, but you guys will. There we go.
Let's see what that was.
Yeah, hopefully that sounded okay.
Hopefully it wasn't just something offensive that was pre-programmed on here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to make any jokes. There we go. We just bought all this equipment. Don't want to get canceled right now. All right. Last couple things here. Holden, quick hitters. Just Guardians 3 set the record for most prosthetics ever used in a film. Over 22,500 plus. So, I mean, when you could say that movie cost 22,500 arms and legs to make.
He sure could say that. And faces
and whatever. That weird computer thing that goes into that guy's head.
Oh yeah, that's right. The Lobot.
Yeah. Well, I guess that makes sense because you got a lot of like the humanoid animals.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay. Also, this is not a spoiler for Guardians 3. Don't worry. But the pink lady that Peter Quill interacts with.
The apple.
The apple?
Yeah, the pink lady apple.
Oh my gosh. No, the pink lady that they interact with on that one planet.
The trombone thing. There it goes.
Is that
again.
the trombone?
Yeah, I played it again.
But that one lady, that's Ratcatcher from the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I didn't realize that either.
Yeah.
So I just said yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I was expecting more of a, okay.
Which lady are we talking about? I was too worried about playing
the lady on the Flesh planet that Peter Quill tries to put the moves on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's Ratcatcher apparently.
Oh. Yeah, I would not have caught that.
No, I didn't either.
I couldn't tell you what Ratcatcher looks like now, to be honest. It took me a second to figure out who you were talking about. And I do remember. I do remember that character. The Brokaw, sure. Last thing, Holden, Hulu looks like it's going to fold into the Disney Plus app. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, it's basically that way in every other country already. So
yeah,
so Hulu's not international. The only things
it's still going to be like, I think it's an additional cost within the app.
Yeah.
So.
I mean and that's also because I think in other countries it's called Stars, like Disney Plus Stars or something like that, or. No, because Stars is a different service. It's something like it's called Star or something like that. It's weird. But yeah, it's just like an extra cost. It's like the R-rated content and whatnot. So
yeah.
But the things I wanted to add on to that are just that apparently it sounds like they are going to be removing content from the merger. I'm hoping it's no original content. I'm hoping we're not pulling a HBO Max here, or else I might go on another tangent like I did before. And this announcement came literal days after Disney Plus had said they'd lost 4 million subs
Whoa.
So
Well, they got hundreds of millions of subs,
but
so.
that's still, not good for the
Maybe
first
they're
wave.
talking about sandwiches. Maybe they're going to have a big meeting.
They
And they're like,
lost
where did
4 million subs. Where did they go?
How are we going to feed all these people? Where's the? I got a rim shot in here.
I can't even tell which one is which.
Because Holden, it says it right there.
Oh, okay.
And I've got them all memorized. You can have multiple pages here, and we can change our voices. So wait, here I can sound like. Wait, where is it? I can sound like I'm talking to megaphone. So, attention, TOMP listeners, I'm speaking in a megaphone, like that. Oh, wait. Oh, no, there it goes. It was off.
Hold on. Jimmy, I am kicking you from That One Movie podcast.
Oh, very funny.
Sounds like the audience is into it.
Yeah. Okay. Very funny, Holden. Very funny. So yeah. That's it for Tom's, Holden. That's all we got. That was it. 35-ish minutes later. So let's dive into our non-spoiler review of Into the Spider-Verse, not Across the Spider-Verse.
Succession?
Oh, we're going to do Succession first. Yeah. Succession, spoiler talk. So if you've not seen Succession, make sure you use the time codes in the description, skip to the part of the episode you want to listen to or watch if you're on YouTube, and check that out. Otherwise, spoiler discussion for the Succession season 4 through that 3rd episode, Connor's wedding, starting in just a few seconds.
All right. Succession up through season 4, episode 3. Like we said, full spoilers for the show up to this point. I don't know what all we're going to discuss because it's 3 seasons and 3 episodes. Jimmy caught up and has been watching the show for a little while now. I'm catching up still. Yeah, I don't know. Where should we start with Succession, huh?
Well, I mean, maybe just general things that we liked about the show in just overall terms. The characters, what we enjoy about them, that sort of thing. The best character dynamic has got to be Tom and Greg.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I'm convinced that Tom Wambsgans is the best character on the show.
I think he's my favorite. As much as I love to cringe at Greg constantly, he's so funny. But yeah, no, Tom is there's just so many layers to him, and he's just like it's interesting because he's like the one that's like kind of already climbed the ladder, like in terms of like the business and all of that. He's from Minnesota and whatever.
Wisconsin?
I think it's Minnesota.
Wisconsin, Minnesota. What's the difference? We just offended a lot of people in those 2 states. I want to say Wisconsin, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, no, like I love it because he's kind of like the outsider, but he wants to be the ruthless capitalist, but he also does have that little human side to him.
Yeah.
But he just immediately latches on to Greg as the one person he can just mistreat.
Yeah, because everyone mistreats him. So
yeah, especially that first season, it's just so like, who is this guy? Why is he so weird?
Well, the first season it's really funny because like Tom just meets Greg and then just immediately is just like bullying him. And then Greg just like doesn't know how to react to it. And Greg's like, even up to the point I'm at, he still doesn't really know how to react to Tom half the time because Tom is like kind of a loose cannon around Greg.
Yeah.
Like it's such a weird dynamic. But then also Greg has quite a few times held his own against Tom. It's very funny.
Yeah, Tom has to be like submissive to everybody. He's just the constant punching bag, but Greg is the one person he's not that to.
Because to everyone else, Greg is just like not there, really.
Yeah.
Like Greg is like basically nothing. And
Tom is their punching bag. Like they just roast Tom all the time. And then his relationship with Shiv is really interesting. And they do really interesting things with that in season 4, especially kind of post the episode that you're caught on to. Yeah. But that's one of the most interesting dynamics. And I mean, even in season 3 and all that stuff. But Tom and Shiv are probably it's hard to watch most of the time. Well, it's just so interesting because you can tell that like when they're having that discussion during their wedding in season 1, it's like how Tom is just kind of heartbroken by Shiv and like this idea of the open relationship. He's like clearly she is like out of his league.
Yeah.
And just
So he wants to hold on to her and like keep her happy, but
he loves her, but he also is using her to climb the ladder and just relying on her. And he's so reliant on so many people to, have the success that he defines it as. And, he has to, in season 3, ultimately betraying her and kind of aligning with Logan, which is such a huge, like, oh my gosh. And the look, and that was a very iconic part of that. But
no, I just like that whole relationship. It was just hard to watch whenever like Shiv would like disclose her plans to like Tom, and Tom's like, where do I fit in? There was like so many discussions like that, and then it's just like, oh, don't worry, like
you can just go to prison for us,
Yeah, that was
the fall guy.
Yeah, that was like Tom's season 3 arc, was him accepting going to prison and becoming depressed and all of that, and that was very morbidly funny the way he was treating it. He's like looking at like a brochure almost for like different prisons. He's like, oh, this one, apparently the food here is not too bad.
Yeah. Just so many great things about that. Tom, Greg, they're the funniest parts for me. Among the siblings, I find myself cheering for Roman the most. But as soon as I'm like, oh, Roman's like the good, smart one, he's kind of actually being the responsible one. He does something bad and he shows his bad side.
See, I was trying to think of that on the way over here, like which sibling do I cheer? I feel like I cheer for all of them like equally. I am like anti Kendall. Like Kendall is very amusing to me, but I'm like, this is the last person I would want to be the leader of my company.
Well, yeah, I don't really want any of them. I think that's part of it. I think they're all like kind of bad in their own way. I think Kendall, the only like the times he's like the very like safe, like he knows the business and whatnot, but he's also just
he's super ambitious.
Yeah, like overly ambitious, overly confident, and no one takes him seriously.
Yeah. And so there's moments where like for like simple like business decisions and stuff, I'll usually be on his side because it seems like he knows what he's talking about. For like Roman, I like he's also ambitious kind of, but in like a different way. He's more creative. He's more personable in some ways. He kind of is able to think on more of a ground level. He's like, who cares about this? We'll just go do this. Like whatever.
I feel like
headstrong.
He's the least like the most trustworthy one is like he is never gonna stab me in the back. I feel like I could actually trust Roman, and Roman's like more of a man of his word. But he's not necessarily the most business inclined. And he's also that old Jerry stuff is so bizarre, but so amusing and captivating at the same time.
The Roman Jerry dynamic is something I've really enjoyed watching, and that moment in the boardroom where he sends his dad a dick pic.
Yeah, it's really uncomfortable,
just horrible, and
just the secondhand embarrassment from that. It's just so awful.
Yeah, Roman's general like sexual ineptitude, I guess I'll call it, is a very interesting part of the show because he's like I'd say he's like he's really good at putting on a face in a lot of other ways, but then that's just like clearly his like big weakness. Is just kind of that whole part of his life and everything. So.
And I think Shiv is the one who seems the most put together, but I feel like she may be also like the most insecure. And she seems like she knows what she's talking about from a business sense, but then she'll get exposed clear, like just completely like this was a terrible idea, or she'll make some crucial mistake that shows that maybe she is not the best for this. But I feel like she's the one where outsiders looking in take her seriously, and she's kind of has that presence, and I feel like she would be the choice. Like if she was a man, she would have been the successor.
Yeah.
And because she wasn't, though, she's not. And I find me rooting for her quite a bit, but I also think she's very ruthless.
She's ruthless, and she just does some really stupid things. Like she gets really like overconfident in a lot of ways. Like anytime she gains some ground in any way, she like takes it too far, and then she'll play her hand too early and then like lose everything. Like she does that. She's done that multiple times, and it's just hard to watch.
And she kind of takes advantage of Tom, just kind of throws him around willy-nilly. I mean, Tom has a lot of it coming to him too, but just her treatment of him. Back to Kendall. I just love how like Kendall just makes up his own crap, like let's go Picasso and this guy, like Cubism, he just like makes up his own like expressions.
He's definitely someone that sounds like intelligent. If you haven't like watched, like if you're just watching a clip, you might, and like he says something like that, you might be like, oh, he's saying something that sounds vaguely intelligent. But if you just know him, he's like, he just says random.
Just a horrible father too. Yeah. But yeah. Now I got to write that down, Holden, and make sure I bleep that out. There is a censor button on this, so if you are gonna swear, you got to just make sure you go to the right spot. So
how long of a bleep is it? Is it something where like I could swear for? Oh wow!
Wait, where is it though? Censor.
Oh, there it is. It's right there.
Censor. So Holden, you are a. I didn't say anything, but that was just an example. But now I got it written down here, so. This is a clean podcast, Olin. We may be reviewing Succession, a TV mature show, but this is a clean.
There's no one that's listening to this section that will care, Jimmy. But I understand.
You never know, Holden. Look, I obviously we haven't even talked about Logan Roy. Because Brian Cox is fantastic. Also, this is embarrassing. It took me until like 2 episodes ago to realize that the casting at the beginning of the episode and the title is alphabetical. Like, why did they put Jeremy Strong so far down? He's like one of the lead actors.
Yeah,
that's embarrassing. A lot of S last names. Very surprising.
Yeah, no. Brian Cox as Logan Roy is great. He's just so like it's. I don't know how to describe how I feel about Logan. Just he's pretty terrible, but he also just is like the most level-headed, I think, in a lot of ways. He's not without his own like way, like
he's the guy that he like. I don't care who you are, he can find a way to hurt your feelings.
Yeah,
like he could make anybody cry.
It's true.
Like I don't care how confident, how cocky, how like secure you are in yourself. He will find a way to make you feel awful about yourself and become the dominant power in the room.
I've gotten to the point where every time, like, there's so many times in a conversation where he's just like, like he has that where it just sounds like so dismissive and like he's not really listening. And the way that Brian Cox does it, every time he does that in a conversation, I can tell he just does not care about what's being talked about. Like it happens so often, especially when like it happens mostly when people are trying to suck up to him. Like he just knows what they're doing and he's not really trying to entertain it too much. It's just weird how that one little exclamation has stood out to me, I guess. He does it like almost every episode up until now.
Yeah. Which is why this episode's so effective, because it's just so jarring. It's like you feel like you are in the position of the siblings, which I realize we haven't talked about Connor, whose wedding it is. Well, we'll talk about him in a second.
That's okay. The show also treats him forgettably.
Connor is a low-key great character.
No, I love Connor. He's great. I think the show treats him the way it does on purpose. So.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. He's hilarious. Yeah. This show, I forget how funny the show is, honestly, until I'm watching him.
Well, should we talk about Connor then? Before,
yeah, we can talk about Connor and then do it. But Connor obviously is just like, I don't know, how would you describe Connor? He's like the most out of touch, but also maybe the most like he's very out of touch, but he's also just like the most human of them. Like he doesn't have the business aspirations of them. Obviously, he's running for president, so he's still like he's just completely delusional. Got that 1%. Oh, God, I cannot wait for you to just continue watching so we can talk about the future episodes. But he's great. I love like the whole situation with Willow, but like you could argue that they're the most secure, healthy, like male-female relationship in the show.
Yeah, and they have a discussion in the Connor's wedding episode where Willa's clearly mostly in it for the money, but like he's okay with
like
it.
You.
Yeah,
they're on the same page. They communicate to each other. But no, I get such a good big kick out of Connor just because he's just there. And what's his Ruck and Anthony Alan Ruck.
Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
He does such a great job in the role. And him with Willow, which is such a awkward. It's just like so cringeworthy situation as you're watching the show. But I think he's a great comic relief. I don't know if I have anything else to say beyond that.
Oh, I just want to say, like, he is, like, the family constantly forgets about him. Like, he's mostly an afterthought for almost everyone involved. The show kind of treats him that way, and I think one of the underrated things I like about that most recent episode I watched, Connor's Wedding, is the episode's literally called Connor's Wedding, but it could not be less concerned about that. like obviously for good reason, something big happens in it, but like every other time there's a wedding or some big event, it's like clearly more of the focus of the show. But here it's just like pushed way to the back, like, which I think just adds to the kind of humor, I guess, of Connor's character.
Yeah. All right, so we can talk about that episode in particular and what's gone on so far in season 4 up to that point. But it's just like it just happened. Like it's so shocking. It's
death.
I was in denial. I don't know about you, but like I mean, both of us knew going into that third episode that something big happens because we weren't caught up.
I had my own guess that went unfulfilled.
Oh, interesting. We'll have to hear that. Yeah. But it just doesn't happen. It wasn't on my mind at all because you have the episodes before. I mean, in hindsight, when Logan's talking about mortality and how like he's, what does he call himself, looking down on other people, like people are just like the market or whatever he says, and he talks about, you know, death and all that. Then, like in hindsight, it seems a little bit more obvious, but
it makes more sense because I mean, the first 2 episodes of the season, he was so focused on becoming more involved with the company and kind of going back to his roots in a lot of ways. So him kind of having that kind of full circle makes sense,
and wanting to reconnect with his kids too. Talking with them, but it just happens off screen, and like you just get a phone call and. Like, oh, your dad's not doing well. Like, that's like how it's said. It's like, oh, Logan's not doing well. Like, it's bad. And you don't really see it happen. You're just told that this is not good. He's not responding. And it's so early in the season, too. It's only the 3rd episode out of 10. I think we said 11, but there is actually 10. And it's just like you are definitely in the position of the siblings at that point, and you feel bad for Connor because it's like he's even my wedding day, my dad couldn't just overshadow me, take that away. Yeah, well, and it is. I mean, like the last thing that they all said to him was like that conversation they had at the karaoke bar where they're just. I mean, for good reason, kind of being ruthless to him, I think, but. It does kind of suck from their perspective too, because they weren't able to really say anything nice to him before he passed away. Yeah. And then they're like talking to him while he's unconscious and stuff. And it's just like, they don't know what to say because their relationship with their dad is so complicated. And just like, he's not a great father, but they still loved him. And that's how the whole story comes to an end. Now, I don't know if you know a lot about the making of this episode, but they actually did this more like a play, and they had a bunch of, I didn't realize this, but Succession is actually shot on film. So they had to they like basically did like their blocking and stuff, but they did like a big kind of oneer, not necessarily oneer, but they would switch out cameras and stuff. Sure. And they just let them act it out, the whole thing. And they said they ended up using most of that footage actually for what it was for the final episode edit. I can see that. It flows it feels like real time for a lot of it. So I feel bad for Kieran Culkin, who plays Roman Roy, because I think he's like very much like he gets into that mindset. He talks about how hard it was to do that episode because he's just like sad all day. But then it's like, oh, that wasn't like, you know, real, but I still like, he doesn't know what to do with it. And like no one, you know, like how do you talk about that with someone? But acting is a strange thing. But, you know, I thought it was a really effective and well acted episode. It's not like my favorite episode of the show. Like I wouldn't necessarily like be dying to go back and rewatch it. I probably like the season 3 finale more. Yeah. But yeah, it is good. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of agree. It's not as like perfect as a lot of people say. Or for me, I mean, I guess I don't really have any qualms with it, but it's just not like something I super treasure. It's not like, you know, Winds of Winter Battle of the Bastards.
Ozymandias.
Ozymandias, where it's like, oh, yeah, can't wait to get back to that. It's like, oh, well, this is just a really important inflection point in the series. And you're like...
And I think that's part of it with, like, the people's reactions is just how crucial it is and turning point.
Bold move to kill him off 3 episodes in with 7 episodes left. You have such a huge presence just gone in an instant. And... no spoilers for the season so far at this point, but I almost think it's been a better show since he's been gone. Actually,
he doesn't like Brian Cox. Here we go.
No, I do. I love Cox.
Yeah, sure do.
Yeah. So, Brian Cox, he's great. He, too bad that he and Jeremy Strong had that whatever, but I just also. I imagine him saying all that stuff as if he was Logan Roy.
Yeah. Anytime I see an interview with Brian Cox, he said something about like the MCU or something, some old person opinion of the MCU. I can't remember but he was like, I just read it in Logan Roy's voice.
Yeah. It's funny. He's on all the DirecTV commercials now too, but no, he's great. And I was really like, I was bummed. I was like, oh man, that stinks that he's dead now. And you just, I was waiting for him to Michael Myers just sit up in the background of one of those shots.
Yeah, I mean, it did feel like he could get up in it.
Or it was like some sort of ploy to manipulate his kids into dropping their...
Yeah, at the same time, that didn't... I thought about that too, but at the same time, that didn't really seem like it fit him. Like, it didn't... I mean, yeah, he'll go to a lot of lengths, but I don't know, faking his own death might be a bit far.
Yeah, but like, coming to that acceptance of his death alongside the kids is really effective and how they did it. And it's a credit to the writing. It's a credit to the acting. It's just a really strong episode. Like you said, I don't have any qualms with it. It's not my favorite. I do think it's really good. But not in the ways that I was expecting it to. It wasn't like a satisfying good. It was just like, oh wow, that was
crazy.
Very effective filmmaking. So
yeah, and
props to them.
One of the things we haven't mentioned yet that I think is crucial to the show too is so much of it is ad-libbed. Like a lot of it is ad-libbed.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. There's I don't know like actually how much of the script is written. I mean in terms of dialogue, but a lot like from what I understand, like most of the dialogue is like ad-libbed. Which is how I'm guessing we get gems like you can't make a Tom without breaking a few Gregs. Good line and stuff like that. I feel like that kind of comes across with like Greg and Tom's interactions and stuff. It is very natural because it's just the actors coming up with a lot of it, and the writers come up with the plot beats and stuff, and maybe certain lines that they want conveyed a certain way. But I think a lot of it is just the actors playing off each other.
Well, it's just the characters are so well written and well developed too. Like you just think about each individual character and how interesting you are, and then you have that whole ensemble of just fun other characters like Carl and Frank.
I love Carl and
Jerry.
Frank.
And
I love the higher ups at the company.
The old, what do they call them? The old
guard.
Old guard. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. They're great. Even Marsha and Carrie, fantastic. There's so many good things about the show. I feel like I'm starting to really actually appreciate and connect with the show as it is ending. Like the first kind of, I watched seasons 1 through 3 and I liked it. I don't love the show. I think it's really good. Just don't love it as much as everybody else. I'm actually starting to really love this show, and now it's ending. So thanks a lot.
One thing you mentioned, Carrie. I saw it pointed out. Carrie looks like Patty Jenkins.
She does.
Yeah.
Good
Not
point.
Patty Jenkins, but
not Patty Jenkins. No. But yeah, anything else to just kind of say as overall about Succession? Oh, the theme music.
The music in general, very good.
So good.
Yeah, the main theme is awesome. And they reuse it in different ways throughout the show, and it's great. I like it a lot. I sit through the theme every time.
Oh, absolutely. Matthew McFadden, who plays Tom Hopkins, is British, and every time I hear him inside the episode, I'm like, that is so weird. God, I don't like it.
Well, I saw the Keira Knightley Pride and Prejudice movie, and he plays Mr. Darcy in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he's like the main love interest or whatever.
And Sarah Snook is as well, so that's weird. But they all do really good American accents. But
is Brian Cox British?
he's got to be, right?
I think he is.
There's no way he's not, right?
I think he is.
Brian Cox, Scottish.
Scottish. Okay.
So there you go.
Is he Scottish in the show? Where's he from?
I don't remember. Don't they go to Scotland?
Yeah, at one point they like go to his childhood home.
Yeah. I don't remember the previous season super well. Just a couple of things. I still have my Killian Muffy page up.
Killian Muffy. Well, one thing I wanted to mention, I think, and maybe this played into why you didn't enjoy it as much initially, because I think it's hampering my enjoyment a tad bit, is I think it's not a great show to binge. Personally.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
Because I think the episode structures are like really repetitive. Like it's like usually, I kind of figured this out. It's like, and it's not every episode. A lot of the episodes, it's like the first 15, 20 minutes are like the siblings or whatever, they're doing their own interactions, kind of building up to a certain event.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to an event, and the event is like the rest of the episode, and like their interactions there or whatever are, and ramifications of what is said is kind of how it goes. So I think it's just like the structure is very, and like I said, it's not cut and dry. That's how it is. But I think it is repetitive. It works for the show, and I think it still stays very dramatic and entertaining and everything. But I think it does maybe hamper binging it a bit.
What I will say is the episodes following episode 3 are all like a day apart, I think. And it is kind of weird to watch it a week at a time, because like you'll be like 3 episodes from now, it'll be like 3 days after Logan's death, and it's still like really fresh for them. But as we were watching it, like
It felt like weeks away.
It felt like this was a long time ago.
Okay.
And that was an interesting thing that I heard in the Nerd Soup podcast, which I definitely recommend if you like Succession. They made that point of maybe it is different feeling on the binge watch. But I'm really excited for you to see the next several episodes of the show. There's actually one coming out right now as we're recording this. But it is, it's great. And they have not, the loss of Logan has not dipped the quality of the show at all. It has been great. It's been hilarious. It's been twists and turns and exciting. And Alexander Skarsgård, is fantastic.
He's really good. I like him a lot.
As Lucas Madsen, which is someone running for office in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or something. There's
like
a bunch of
named that.
There's not Madsen. It's like Brian Madsen. There's signs all over though that say Madsen, and I cannot not think of Alexander Skarsgård.
A marketing ploy for Succession.
Yeah, probably.
In Sioux Falls.
But Succession, it's great. I'm really enjoying it. We will definitely have more reviews for you in the future. I don't know if we'll just do an updated one every time you watch, or we'll just update it once you get to the end or by the finale, whenever that is. So
yeah, probably I would let's bet on finale.
Yeah. So expect our full season 4 review of Succession when the finale comes out that weekend. Or maybe the next day or whatever it is. We'll be coming out within the week-ish of the finale. So if you liked this, you enjoyed hearing us, and you're still around, on YouTube, subscribed on the podcast, make sure you're following us and listening in. Otherwise, Holden, let's talk about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse non-spoiler review. All right, this movie 5 years old, sequel coming out in a few weeks. Let's talk about it.
All right. So this week we are doing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man, look at all the Spider-Man.
Look at all the spiders. Obviously this movie is several years old at this point.
So are we.
Yeah.
At this point.
It came out like literal months before we started. So we would have just missed it for the podcast.
Yeah, 2 months about. December 14th, 2018.
And since we, the new one's coming out, figured this would be a good gap week movie, cover our thoughts on this.
And I've only had seen it one time.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So here's our synopsis. Bitten by a radioactive spider in the subway, Brooklyn teenager Miles Morales suddenly develops mysterious powers that transform him into the one and only Spider-Man. So much for that. When he meets Peter Parker, he soon realizes that there are many others who share his special high-flying talents. Miles must now use his newfound skills to battle the evil Kingpin, a hulking, that's an understatement, hulking madman who can open portals to other universes and pull different versions of Spider-Man into our world. And Holden, you said this is our non-spoiler review. So if you still haven't seen this movie, you're on the fence. We are doing our non-spoiler review. We are also doing a spoiler review. So
stay tuned for that if you've seen it.
Stay tuned.
I like how it says the one and only Spider-Man in there.
Yeah, the one and only Spider-Man. There was already a Spider-Man in his universe at that point. So
not a great synopsis.
Yeah.
Get better, Google.
Come on, Google.
So this movie, it has like 3 directors. I can't remember who they are.
Lord and Miller are
they're producers and writers. I don't think they
Peter
directed.
Ramsey, Bob Paraschetti, and Rodney Rothman.
Peter Ramsey sounds familiar. You want to click on him?
Peter Ramsey. I'm clicking on him. Mandalorian. He's standing in front of a Mandalorian thing.
Oh yeah, maybe he directed an episode of Mandalorian. That's what I'm thinking.
He is best known for directing Rise of the Guardians.
That was an alright movie, if I remember correctly. I don't know.
Is that about birds?
No, that's the Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole, directed by Zack Snyder.
Rise of the Guardians. You know what? I feel like I saw...
Rise of the Guardians is the Jack Frost, like Easter Bunny, Santa Claus team up.
Is that good?
It's all right. It's a DreamWorks movie. I remember, I guess I haven't seen it since it came out, but...
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway... Lord and Miller, yeah, they're producers, and at least one of them wrote it. But so yeah, it's got some good humor and all of that. I love this movie. This is my favorite Spider-Man movie.
It's not my favorite. I just mainly out of nostalgia for those Tobey Maguire ones, but I think I like No Way Home still more.
Okay.
But this is a great movie. It won Best Animated Feature, I believe. Yeah. It is the best looking animated movie I've ever seen, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to...
I mean, it literally... This changed animation, right? We've seen so many...
We just reviewed Puss in Boots.
I mean, Puss in Boots, clearly inspired by this. They do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Seth Rogen one.
The new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Clearly inspired a lot of stuff. Even Disney's Wish movie that's coming out. This changed animation and did things that we didn't think really could be done.
Came out a year after Sony Animation did the Emoji Movie.
That's incredible. What a turnaround there. Never did see the Emoji Movie, I guess. But yeah, it's gorgeous. It's fantastic, revolutionary, beautiful, but it's also very well written and very creative. This was also before a lot of the multiverse stuff was in the mainstream medium.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have Endgame yet.
No,
for sure. And we didn't have, Multiverse of Madness and all that stuff and Loki and whatnot.
Yeah, it really did.
In the MCU.
I mean, obviously they had made Endgame at that point, but for the public, it was a trend starter.
Yeah, and as well as, Everything Everywhere All at Once. So really influential there. It's just got such a fun cast of characters, all really well played. It's gorgeous. The Peter Parker at the beginning played, is it Chris Pine?
That's Chris Pine, yeah.
It's great how perfect he is. And then you get, what's his name from, is it New Girl?
Yeah, Jake Johnson.
Jake Johnson.
From New Girl.
Emily and I were watching. She had never seen it. And she said he was the perfect casting for Peter B. Parker.
He was really good, yeah. I think, yeah, he and Shameik Moore who plays Miles.
Yeah.
They're probably the standouts voice-wise, I think. They're both great.
But I mean, obviously we have, Spider-Gwen as a side character, Spider-Man Noir with Nick Cage, which is not nearly in the movie enough. But yeah, man, I really enjoyed Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The action is great. The music is great. The soundtrack.
Yeah, I love.
Really good.
I mean, I mentioned this. I think when we talked about one of the trailers, just because it used some of the original score from this. I think the score for this movie is really good. It kicks butt.
There you go. Thank you, Olden. You could use the censor.
It kicks.
So let's see if that worked or not.
If not, it'd be really funny if it started after I said the word. You'd almost have to keep that in for the humor.
I'm gonna put down the time codes just in case. Holden, you better not spill that water all over
it on my jeans.
All over our equipment.
Just look like I wet myself.
Well, good thing we're not doing this standing up. Good thing you were wearing pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Kingpin is massive. Can we talk about the elephant in the room? The elephant-sized man in the room.
I remember the first time I saw this movie, I was like laughing my butt off in the theater. When I saw Kingpin come into frame for the first time. And there's my favorite shot of him is just where he like takes up the entire frame and his head is just like in the center of it. It's just like a black screen with Kingpin's head.
Or even when he's just the one shot where he's talking to another character, this lady scientist, and he's literally half the screen. Yeah. And I love how small his head is.
Yeah.
And it's like half the screen is just black. Then it's his head and then this lady he's talking to. But it's so funny, but it's also just great. Mm-hmm. How does he fit through any doors, get into any cars? I have no idea. Like,
well, yeah, because we see him in cars like multiple times in the movie too, and he just somehow gets out of them. We just have to accept it.
He's bigger than Jack Horner is in Puss in Boots, right? They're both massive.
They are both I don't know which one's bigger. He's bulkier. Jack Horner might be taller.
Yeah, incredible, but he's great. I love him as the villain in this movie. But interesting story arc for him as well, kind of his motivations.
Yeah, it's his wife and kids, which that's something it's interesting having watched this after Daredevil, because like the wife is a major character in Daredevil and all of that. So yeah, it's obviously not connected, but similar character, same character. So
yeah, we talk about the style of this, but even just like the way they incorporate the comic book elements of the speech bubbles and the thought bubbles and the different, what do you call them, frames or panels?
Panels, yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. The panels, all those stuff from the comic books, even the texture, the stylized, the that sort of thing. But I mean, there's just a few shots of this movie that are already iconic.
Oh yeah.
Him jumping off the building upside down is incredible. All that stuff. I'm not going to talk about spoilers, so I shouldn't say any more specific things. But
yeah, no, it is very iconic. And I love rewatching it. I've probably seen this 5 times now at this point. I don't know. But there's just like so many small details in it that is so hard, like so easy to miss, but like easy, like you can pick up on later watches. But like, I love like the little effects they do on just like random little things. The first one I always notice is like when in the beginning of the movie when he's like kind of like drumming or whatever, and like it does like the little impact like effects.
Yeah.
That's always fun. I granted I had this pointed out to me online some time ago, but I love that when they're leaving I guess without spoilers, they're leaving a facility at some point and they grabbed a bagel.
Yeah.
And then when they toss it back and it says bagel or whatever, that's a lot of fun. I like that one.
That's one of my favorites as well. But yeah, just all those little touches, they definitely play with your expectations too, and they subvert them in ways that are really satisfying and interesting. So I enjoy that with the whole multiverse aspect of it. Miles, his whole family dynamic, I think is really interesting. I like a lot of the side characters, like we mentioned. There's fun ensemble, but there's also good moments of drama. There's a lot of good humor. It's funny.
Yeah, it's funny, yeah.
And it's very fast paced. There's a lot of energy to a lot of this.
It's like 2 hours.
Yeah,
which
like
is kind of surprising.
Yeah, that's a long animated movie, and it carries it the whole time.
I think the new one's like 2.5 hours.
I was gonna say this movie could be longer.
Yeah.
But lots of really fun stuff in this, and you can tell just so much care went into making this movie, and also through the end it definitely seems like they had a vision for the sequels, which makes me excited for the first one coming out just in a few weeks, Across the Spider-Verse, which we'll be reviewing. So yeah, just lots of good things. I did forget how funny this movie is.
Yeah.
There were quite a few laugh out loud moments, but also it's got heart. It's just a fun movie to watch. You just really like the characters in this movie, and you want them to succeed, and you want things to work out for them. So I like that.
It might be cliche to say something like this because I know people say it about like Insomniac, Spider-Man, and stuff. But I think one of the reasons why it's my favorite is because I think it gets to the core of like Spider-Man as a character the best, like out of any of them. Because I mean, so much of the focus of the movie is like literally anyone could do this, or anyone potentially could do this given the right circumstances or whatever. like it's just kind of an any man kind of like profession, quote unquote. Which is represented by all the different people that end up becoming Spider-Man in the different universes and everything. And then, so I think I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, and it's got like, it has like the different ages of Spider-Man too. Like you have the perfect Peter Parker Spider-Man who's 26, as we know, Holden, when we're right around that age. So we're, the perfect ultimate prime versions of our 25 and a half. Okay, I'm almost there to my ultimate prime version of myself. But then you have Miles, who's 14?
Yeah,
something like
14,
that?
15, something like
He's
that.
in school. He's got all that, adolescent puberty stuff going on and all this. You got that age range. But then you also have Peter B. Parker, who's kind of this washed up, unsuccessful
He's like
Spider-Man
40,
in his 40s, just kind of over the hill and just kind of screwed everything up. So you have all of that, and it's just really fun. Now we're just missing Grandpa Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So,
Wouldn't be surprised if we get an old Spider-Man in the new movies.
Yeah, but I love a lot of what they bring to the table here. With all the characters, with the style, the pacing, the different effects they use, playing into the comics, bringing that stuff in a way that's really accessible. And you're like, hey, that's part of the comics, but it enhances the story. It doesn't detract from the story, which I think is really cool. So I only have good things to say about this movie. I think maybe if you were going to nitpick, like some of the plot twists are really predictable and easily foreshadowed and you can spot them a mile away. But I still think it doesn't take anything away from the movie for me.
Yeah, no. I mean, really my only complaint, which once again, I don't know if this would really affect my score at all, but I feel like the greater ensemble of Spider-Man could maybe be in it more.
That's what I thought. I didn't really think that the first time, but at least I didn't remember thinking it. But watching this last time, I'm like, man, I wish I got more from those characters. And I think this movie could have even been longer than it was.
Yeah, so and if you had made it longer, you easily could fit that in there. But at the same time, it is such a brisk movie, and it is nice that it's so brisk.
So
it's very nicely paced. But other thing I wanted to mention, I really like the designs of the villains, and we talked about Kingpin, but like the other ones too. I know Green Goblin is taken kind of from the Ultimate Spider-Man universe. I think I don't really know about like the Scorpion or Doc Ock stuff or whatever, all of that, but it's all great. I really like it.
I agree. I like it a lot. Holden, what would you give this movie out of 10?
I might go 10. I really don't have anything bad to say about it at all, and I feel like I like it more the more I see it. Like I said, it's my favorite one. It is like, it's interesting because like you'll have people argue about like between Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland or whatever, but if someone says like Into the Spider-Verse is their favorite, everyone's just like, oh yeah. Okay. It's just kind of like people accept that as, it is a very good movie. And often, I mean, a lot of times people just don't think of it because it's animated, but it's my favorite. So.
It is, I would consider it one of the best animated movies ever.
Yeah.
For me.
It's fantastic.
So, yeah. Sweet. I would say it's for anybody who, if you like Spider-Man or superheroes in general, it's for you. And it's for kids, it's for parents, adults, anybody at any age can enjoy it. So I think it's just a really accessible movie at a lot of levels. And I think you'll get a different appreciation for it no matter what stage of life that you're at, because it talks about those things. So if you are a kid, you're going to see the school stuff and connect to that. If you are, going out of college and stuff, you finding your way in life and that sort of thing, you can get that as well. And then also, like as an adult, all these other adult things that happen and the more mature side of things, you get that element of that too. So I like how it has all those things. It has everything for all the ages, and I appreciate that. Yes. And I think it makes it a really enjoyable movie for the whole family. So watch it. That's what who's this for? It's for literally like everybody, unless you hate good movies and happiness. So watch this movie. Yeah. Do yourself a favor and stay tuned for our review of the sequel. But Holden, we're going to dive into spoilers right now. So we'll go into our spoiler review. If you have not seen this movie, do not watch or listen to our spoiler review. Time codes are in the description. If you're on YouTube, this video will just end, so you don't have to worry about it. But if you want to watch it, go click on the recommended. It'll probably be in the end title card. Otherwise, if you're listening, just keep on listening. Don't even think about pressing that pause button. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Holden will find you.
Well,
all right.
I will kill you.
Wow. Wow. All right. Let's go into our spoiler review.
All right, spoilers for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse for this movie that probably most of you have seen at this point. But
I can't believe this movie's 5 years old.
yeah, right. I remember like way back when they announced like the sequel and it was coming out. I think initially 2022, maybe even 2021. I don't know if COVID affected the release date at all, but. I remember when they initially announced it, and it was way far out. I was like disappointed, but it makes sense with how much work goes into it.
And they're basically making both of these at the same time, right?
Yeah, I it makes me wonder, especially if this one's gonna be 2.5 hours long. Like, and I assume the next one will be similar length. I hope the animators are not getting screwed over here.
Yeah. But let's talk about why we love this movie so much. I mean, from the get-go, you get the awesome song. What's the Post Malone song called again? Into the Spider-Verse song. It is called
Sunflower.
Sunflower. That's what it is. It's Sunflower. No.
Sunflower's a different one. Is it?
I thought it was Sunflower, but maybe it's not. I don't know.
Look.
Sunflower.
Oh, yeah, I know it is.
Sunflower, yeah.
Yeah.
It's boo 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 boo. It's a jam.
Yeah,
I like
it's
it.
the one that he sings at the beginning.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it starts off with that. I really like just the tunes, everything. I love the little like, here we go again. Like, here's the story. You guys know the story.
Yeah, that
all
framing device. I like that a lot too.
All the references to,
I wonder
especially
if
the
do
Tobey
something
Maguire
similar
one.
with that with the new one.
Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man 3. You get the whole dancing sequence.
Stopping the train.
And we don't talk about that and all that stuff. So
yeah,
it's good. It's that nice little stuff for the people who grew up and watched those movies, and it's still like funny and to watch and all that if you haven't seen the movies. So
yeah,
I like that. I like how they did that. I like how they came back to that bit and kept throwing the comics on top of each other.
Just
Thought that was a good
layers,
touch.
Jimmy. Literal layers.
Literal
of comics.
literal layers of comics. But I like how things get rolling too, and how the movie gets better as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, you establish Miles as a character going to school. His dad makes him tell him that he loves him.
Yeah,
all that stuff. You get the disconnect of he's at this new school, leaving his old school. He calls it like the elitist school or whatever, and just kind of doesn't really feel at home there, and kind of not accepted, which is a very isolated, alienating feeling. You feel bad for Miles at that point. So I love it when his uncle gives him the advice to do the shoulder touch. Yeah, I can do that. Hey, I can do that to you now that we're in the same room, Holden. But yeah, and the whole scene and just the cringe of everything he does is just really awkward, and you feel for Miles and his inability to communicate or be a normal human around anybody at the school.
it's all a metaphor for puberty, even though they say it's puberty also in it.
Yeah, there you go.
One of the things I liked that I obviously didn't really notice until the second time I watched it was I liked when he first comes into the classroom and like there's the presentation on the screen, and it's Olivia Octavius, but he's like blocking the name when he's like,
oh, I didn't realize he's blocking the name. I did catch that it was her.
yeah, no, it says like Olivia O, and then he's like in front of the rest of the name.
Oh.
So I like that.
That's really smart.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would have caught anyway, since you wouldn't necessarily be looking at
that. But no, I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I liked it too, Holden.
Nice, even though you didn't notice it.
I didn't notice it, but I like it, and I'll look for it the next time I see this movie 20 years from now. And I'll be like, man, this
Maybe
movie
I'll
slaps.
rewatch it before the last one.
There you go. Maybe
Binge
that is
all-
next year, right?
I think so.
Otherwise, we get the sequence of fighting with the original Peter Parker Spider-Man in the big, what is it, like
Collider.
Collider. That's what I was looking for. I was going to say nuclear reactor. I'm like, that is not it. That's
Nuclear
Chernobyl.
reactor.
Nuclear.
Yeah, I know. It's nuclear.
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 Our good friend Joe Lust says nuclear.
Shout out to Joe Lust.
Shout out Joe Lust. Hopefully he'll be a guest on here someday. But look, I really like that. Green Goblin is huge, massive.
Yeah, just incredible.
Look, huge. Norman, like we can talk this out or whatever. Just massive. That was fun. Who else is in that opening?
I think it's really just him, and then Kingpin comes in. And
how do you feel about head trauma at the end?
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm jumping to the end.
That's that point.
That is that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Goblin. Yeah. Also Tombstone. Forgot Tombstone.
Tombstone's there. Yeah. I was trying to remember who that guy. I'm like, I know who that guy is.
He does. Kingpin does say Tombstone at one point, but yeah, it is. That's Tombstone.
Yeah, I think that's a fun action sequence. I mean, they kill off Spider-Man. Just that. Mm-hmm. I mean, that Kingpin just annihilating him. That's a overpowered move there. Yeah. Just the double fist slam into your chest.
Yeah, no, it's pretty, let's say, brutal for a kids movie. Kind of surprising.
Yeah,
they just kill Spider-Man off that quickly and viciously. I mean, they don't really show it. It's kind of off screen. We see the slam, but we don't actually see the slam on Spidey.
Slam, no. We don't see him. I mean, that's what you guess you do is just smash a spider, right? You know, or something. I mean, I catch them. I catch them, and I fling them outside. That's what I do.
Oh, you're a lot more compassionate than I am.
I am. Mm-hmm. So you listen, all you spiders out there. You just leave me alone.
Find yourself in Jimmy's house.
Yeah, but no, I don't. No, don't come here. Just stay away.
Yeah, but then Peter B. Parker shows up.
Yeah, and he's just like, look, man, I don't even know how I got here. Well, I love the scene where it's the funeral for Peter Parker, and MJ's talking about like how we all need to be Spider-Man. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I don't think she means you specifically. I think it's more like a metaphor.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. And then I like that whole chase, or like that whole sequence where
Peter B. Parker's just like
unconscious.
Like that guy taking massive damage at that point.
He keeps getting knocked out every time he wakes up, and that I remember that was like the first clip they released. Like I remember that. I remember watching that before the movie even, or something like that. But yeah.
It's like, oh, what's this? Yeah. No, I like that a lot. Of course, we get the Stan Lee cameo where he gets the suit, and it always fits sooner or later, or eventually, or whatever he says, and then the no refunds ever, except for no returns or refunds ever, which is a great thing. But yeah, no, fun to see Stan Lee, rest in peace. But a lot of just fun sequences. I'm trying to think, anything big happened before they go and to the whatever the corporation is where Doc Ock works.
Alchemex.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like the conversation they have in the alley between Peter and Miles when they're like just walking up the side of the building, just like normal.
Oh yeah,
I think that's a really fun touch. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's cool. Then they go to the diner and all of that, but yeah, not a ton other. Peter B. Parker's wearing sweatpants.
I love it. Yeah. And I was like working out, like getting all strong when the multiverse thing happened. He's just eating pizza and bad, sad. I just love how much of an abject failure he is, and I think that's funny. Mm-hmm. I laugh at other people's misgivings.
Yeah, I'm glad.
That's where I find
empathy with that character.
I'm kind of sad that he figures it out at the end and it works out for him. No, he's great. The whole scene at the, what is it called? Alchemex?
Alchemex, yeah.
That's great. Of course, the Doc Ock reveal blew me away. I was like, what? Dr. Octopus is a woman?
Yeah, it caught me off. I mean, I knew something was off with her, but it did catch me off guard that I feel like that might also be an Ultimate Spider-Man thing. I think there is like an Olivia Octavius in the comics or something. So maybe it's just something we're not well read up on. Maybe it was obvious for some people, but I like her arms and stuff.
Yeah, it's great.
It's really cool the way that they're
more like, they're not so much machine. They're more like, I don't even know what to call them. Like gooey, not gooey, but they're like more amorphous or something.
Yeah, they're
flexible.
Squishy. They're more squishy.
Like flexible instead of like shing, like metallic Metallica.
Yeah, it's very fun and different. It's good that they didn't just do the Sam Raimi arms.
Yeah, and those worked out really well.
Yeah.
She was doing some damage.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love how Miles joins in. He obviously is struggling with his powers of the electrocution and turning invisible and whatnot. So that's fun. I like how he's running with the monitor. Good news, we don't need the monitor. He just throws it away. But yeah, it's like seeing, even though Peter B. Parker is kind of this overweight, kind of over the hill version of Spider-Man, he's still like, yeah, I got this, I'm used to this. He's figuring it out. And, all right, we got to have a bag of play cool. And everybody in the corporation is like ready to kill Spider-Man. I think that's funny. But then you get the moments of like, oh yeah, here's web slinging and what did I say? It's like, I want to say swish and flick, but that's that Wingardium Leviosa. That's not the Spider-Man. Thwip, like the whip, release, something like that. But that's a nice moment between them. And then obviously you get the glitching out, and they find out that they're going to die a horrible, painful death if they stay in this universe and don't return to their own.
Yeah, that whole glitching out effect, I have no idea how they do that. Like I guess I could figure it out probably, but like the amount of time that probably goes into every single like frame of those glitching out segments, like whether it be the city or like the characters, there's just like so much to it. It seems really intense.
I don't know. It looks great.
Yeah, it does.
Everything in this movie looks great, obviously. But another bit that I like, when they're just learning, this must be before then, when Miles is figuring out, when he's like, this is before I think Peter B. Parker comes into the picture, but he's going to jump off the building. And he goes up to the top of the building. He's like hyping himself up to do it. And then he goes back down. It cuts to him going back down.
Oh, yeah.
And he looks, and then there's a smaller building, and he goes to that one. Then he lands on his back. He would have just broken his back and been out of commission for a long time.
Good thing he's Spider-Man.
Yeah, good thing he's Spider-Man and it's a cartoon. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I loved a lot of that. And again, those comedic moments, I think that's one of my favorite ones as well. But yeah, the Alchemex thing, they get the computer, meet up with Aunt May, who's great in this. I love how she's just a boss.
Yeah. I didn't look up who's
waiting for you to show up.
I can't remember who she's played by. Like everyone in this is like, it's kind of a all-star cast.
Oh yeah, I got one of these sheds in my backyard. It's just this like bat cave lair thing. Of course, you get the Insomniac Spider-Man.
It's a pretty emotional first interaction. Oh, Lily Tomlin plays Anime, but it's pretty emotional initially when they first go to her, because obviously Peter B. Parker has lost his Aunt May, and then she's lost Peter and all of that. So it's very good.
They've all lost somebody, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What do I recognize Lily Tomlin from? 80 for Brady.
Yeah, well, she's like a comedian.
Grace and Frankie.
Yeah, she's one of the comedians from back then, and in a lot of the old lady. She's probably in Book Club.
Magic
the next
School
chapter.
Bus. Who's she in Magic School?
Maybe
Bus?
is
she Miss Frizzle?
She might be Miss Frizzle. Is this Miss Frizzle?
To the bus. I don't know. I can't find it.
Oh wait, there we go. Yeah, she is Miss Frizzle.
She's Miss Frizzle. Oh. Wow.
No way.
Aunt May is Miss Frizzle. You heard it here first. Breaking news. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. All right, Holden. She's great. I love her as the boss that she is. The lair, which is cool. And discovering, obviously, meeting all of them. You get that one comic book intro thing. Spider-Man Noir, not in it enough.
No.
I am sad that he is not going to be returning.
Nick Cage is so good as Spider-Man Noir. Disappointing, yeah, that he's not coming back.
It's too bad.
Might get the other two back. We haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
Penny Parker.
She's great with the robot.
Yeah, which is it's a fun, unique spin on it. I don't know if that's probably a comic, or maybe that's a what if or something. I don't know, but it's pretty cool. And Peter Porker,
played
by
John
Mulaney.
Yeah, he's great.
Who's now in 2 of these great animated movies.
Oh yeah, that's right, because he's Jack Horner.
Yeah, he's Jack Horner.
I didn't put that together in my head.
Connection.
But now you say it. Man, Puss in Boots is good. Emily and I were saying we got to watch that one.
Oh
soon,
yeah,
too.
It's so good.
Now that we've watched it. Hold on, how many? You've seen that one 3 times?
Yeah.
Which one of these do you like better?
That's a good question.
Gotta be Spider-Verse. I think you gotta give it to Spider-Verse, right? Puss in Boots is great, but Spider-Verse
I don't know, man. I'm tempted to say. I feel like I'm just so like. I feel like there are a lot of things about Puss in Boots I like a lot more than this, but maybe this one's more consistent. I don't know. I love. They're pretty close. Maybe I'll rewatch Puss in Boots this week. Put them out next to each other in my mind.
Well, if you haven't seen that one, go watch it.
Yeah.
And then listen to our review of it. Yeah, other things to talk about with this movie after that. We obviously have the team, but the fight at Aunt May's house is great. I feel terrible for Aunt May because her home is getting destroyed. Can we take this outside? I also like how she's just beating the crap out of people too.
Spider-Man Noir has a line is, "We don't pick the ballroom, we just dance."
He's got a lot of great lines. He's like, "It's a long story. Guess it wasn't that long," or whatever he says.
Yeah, no, that fight exemplifies one of the things I like about all the fights in this is, especially that one because there's so many things going on. But like it's so easy to tell what's happening in any like if you look at any single point. Like if obviously there's like the main focus usually with Miles or Peter B. Parker, but if you look in the background, there's like Penny Parker going ham on or Spider-Ham going ham on Scorpion or something. It's pretty cool.
And that's the beauty of animation too, is you really can just control all of that stuff and fine tune it, and they use it to such great effect in that sequence. And we haven't talked about the Prowler yet. Obviously, who ends up being Miles' uncle, which I think is really obvious. From the beginning of the movie.
That's also just that's a well-known comic thing too. I feel like I knew that going into the movie, even because Aaron Davis, Prowler. Also,
well, you're a nerd, so
played by Donald Glover in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's like I don't remember. He's just some like criminal that Spider-Man interrogates for something in that movie, and he's supposed to be Aaron Davis, and I think he even says something about I need to tell my nephew about this or something like that.
I've not seen that movie in a while. But nice catch, Holden.
Yeah. My brain full of useless knowledge has to come into use sometime.
And now that we've brought him up, he dies.
Yeah.
But I just like his interactions with Miles and kind of that conflict within him that he wants to be this role model, but also this is kind of his gig. So obviously he has the choice to hurt Miles and he doesn't, and then Kingpin just wastes him. And
Prowler in general in this movie is just a very intimidating, like he has that
great design,
great
music to go with him too. The chase sequences, the one in the subway is really exciting too.
Yeah, he's got the big claw and it's the bike, and he's awesome. Really cool.
Great. Yeah, I only have good things to say about him. That's really cool. I mean, obviously the effect that has on Miles, that relationship with his dad, all those regrets and that sort of thing. That's just really cool. Miles is not ready to be Spider-Man though, so they like you don't even know how to do any of this stuff.
Can't do any of your powers on command.
But it's a leap of faith, Holden. It's a leap of faith. So he jumps off.
He does it literally.
He literally
jumps off a building.
And then he vandalizes one of the Spider-Man costumes to make a cool looking costume.
Which, I think that's great how he makes his costume, and it's so like based off of what we've established. He's very artistic, and he makes the stickers, and he does some graffiti as well. And it's
a great costume.
Yeah, it's great.
I like the black and red. Yeah, black and red over the blue and red.
Honestly, yeah. I think I think I like Miles's costumes in general more. Mostly because of the color palette, but
I'm a sucker for the Scarlet Spider costume. I don't know why.
It's so silly looking.
It is. I just really like it though. I don't know why I like that. That's so
okay.
Much.
When I played the Insomnia and the Spider-Man 2017 or whatever, I played the Ghost Rider spider costume a lot.
Yeah,
that one's
really ridiculous.
It's kind of bad, but I like it a lot.
But yeah, so lots of good things there. And then obviously we have he jumps off the building. You get the iconic upside down jumping city shot. Really cool. So yeah, and then we get the
sponsored by Nike.
Yeah, those are nice shoes.
They are.
Yeah. But we should see the movie Air, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. Those Jordans.
They must be, right?
I don't know.
They
I
must
don't know
be.
anything about shoes.
Air
dude.
Force Ones. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Air Force.
Those
Ones.
aren't Jordans, though, are they? I don't know. I don't know anything about shoes.
Are there
Sorry.
actually shoes called Air Force Ones?
Yeah. Hold on.
Well, that's kind of funny.
I think there's Air Force too. I think those are two different
Air
types.
Force 2s.
We go to the final confrontation where they're trying to do the override, and that whole battle, which is so colorful and just
it's
wild,
awesome,
amazing. You have the whole banquet sequence, which has that hilarious moment where Peter B. Parker is talking to MJ about the bread.
Yeah.
I wish
by Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah, that's right. Which is I did not know until rewatching it. I was like, oh, Zoe Kravitz. That's great. Spider Gwen is great in this movie too.
Mm-hmm.
I think she is a really fun, exciting character to watch as well. I like the
what's her name? Kate Bishop from the Hawkeye show.
Oh, what is her? Yeah, what's her name? Gosh, I'm forgetting.
Haley Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld. Is she related to somebody?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, she is related to somebody, but I don't know if we know
somebody that we care about, not some no name.
Yeah, but that she's great. That whole sequence is fun. But then, the reactor, such a colorful, fun sequence. They each go in individually. You have like the death of the robot.
But the spider's still alive.
Yeah,
so
the spider's still.
That's
what I was thinking. I'm like, is this really that sad?
I think it's just sad because I think it's supposed to be sad for most people because it's like, oh, we haven't really seen the spider or anything, but then she gets the spider out. It's like, oh, it's okay. Yeah,
lots of good sequences in that, and he does the electrocution. Just hey,
that's so good. The way they set that up, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And the animation in that whole sequence is fantastic. They've got all like the buildings popping out and everything. I love like the weird like blobby like particle effects going everywhere, and it just gets like ridiculous like how many there are, and it's incredible. I just can't imagine how they make this movie half the time.
It's gorgeous. I love the one sequence where the shockwave. It's when it first goes in, and then they're looking at the street lamp thing. He's like, "Oh, it must be a Banksy or whatever."
Oh yeah,
that was a funny moment.
That's funny.
Back when that was like right when Banksy like shred that one.
Oh yeah, the
painting at the auction. So
incredible.
Like Banksy was super relevant at the time. They wouldn't have known that while they were making the movie, but
no, timed well. Although I doubt there were many people going to see this movie because they'd heard the Banksy story and they're like, "Oh, I hear there's a Banksy reference in this movie."
Banksy reference. But that was funny. It helped me get the joke, which I appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, just great sequence. And at the end, Miles has kind of been Spider-Man for like 3 days now, and he's like, "Woo, I'm Spider-Man," and all that stuff. And it literally ends with what seems to be the beginning of the next one, very Back to the Future style.
Yeah, which is weird because I think they're supposed to. I think I heard there's like a year difference between the two movies, so I don't know.
Huh.
It's interesting.
I didn't know that.
I mean, I guess we do see a montage of Miles helping out people, so theoretically that could be a year later.
Yeah. So maybe he's just like, she's like, "Hey, Miles," and he's like, "Nope," and he just closes the portal.
Maybe next time.
Yeah. Awesome. Anything else you want to say about this movie, Holden?
No, I don't think so.
We're probably missing
got the post-credit scene.
Oh yeah, which one is? I did not watch it.
That was
is it
Spider-Man
when they're
2099? Yeah, pointing at each other.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's a good reference to the meme.
Yeah, very good. Otherwise, I think that's it. Huh?
I think that's it.
All right, sweet. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse spoiler review. Awesome. Let's dive into our last segment of the show, Holden, which is, of course, What Are You Doing?
What are you doing? What are you doing? No, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, what are you doing? What are you doing?
All right, Jimmy. This week for What Are You Doing? Let's see.
Absolutely nothing.
No, I mean, I caught up on quite a ways on Succession. Watched probably 6 episodes at least.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so we can at least talk about some of it. So I did
2 weeks to fully catch up because that's when it's coming out. Barbarian's in 2 weeks too.
Yeah, and I haven't watched any of the new season.
Well, I haven't either, but what am I doing? I'm watching Barry.
Yeah, I'm rewatching Barry as well right now.
Well, what episode are you on?
I just finished season 1.
I'm on episode 2 of season 2.
Oh, nice.
So we're close there.
I'm excited to hear what you think. But
we got to catch up for that one.
yeah,
Was that Little Mermaid week then? When those
it must be.
Yeah. And then into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse, is that week after that?
Maybe.
Yeah, June 2nd, I think. Wow.
Crazy,
it's
man.
coming at you,
Lots of big
man.
things.
Lots of big things. A
I have
whole
a
new
wedding
world.
that weekend. We're gonna have to figure that out.
Which weekend?
The Spider-Verse weekend.
I do too.
Wow. Maybe
It's
the
not.
same wedding.
It is not the same wedding.
No, my wedding is a frequent listener of the podcast, Tommy Ward. So,
Well, thanks for the invite, Tommy.
no, but other things I did. I actually started the Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur show. Did you hear anything about this?
I've never heard of it.
Okay, it's a Disney Channel like animated show, and it's a Marvel property, but it's not like connected to the MCU or anything. It is probably one of the coolest animated shows I've ever seen from like a style perspective. You should just like check out the trailer. It is like really
Moon Girl
Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur is what it's called.
and Lava Boy.
Yeah.
It
is just
I like the logo of it.
Yeah.
It's a Marvel thing.
yeah. I just said that you weren't listening.
Why would I listen to you? Ollie? I was typing. It went to the Wikipedia page. I don't want the Wikipedia.
No,
page.
but it's gorgeous. I like the show itself. It's very entertaining. Yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of hard to get a sense from the just screenshots because a lot of it is in motion, like seeing
Okay.
it. But it's really cool.
Is it good?
Yeah, it is good.
Okay.
I liked it a lot. Or I guess like it. I'm still watching it. I mean, obviously it is a kid's show, so it's not like it's like the
It's a
most
little scary
intense.
for Holden.
Yeah. But it's very entertaining even for adults. It's kind of cool because like they're taking like Z-list Marvel characters and making them villains, and they're just kind of doing whatever they want with it. It's very yeah, I don't really know how much to say other than the animation's incredible. The music's really good too. I don't think all of it's original, but every episode has like a song in it. It's not, I wouldn't call it like a musical show or anything, but usually the climax of the episode is set to a song and it's very cool and fun. It's really good. I like it a lot.
Does Devil Dinosaur talk or is he?
No,
okay.
but he's like he's kind of like a fun animated sidekick character. So he's like intelligent to an extent. He'll react to Moon Girl's quips or whatever.
Sure.
But no, Devil Dinosaur doesn't talk. So yeah, really like that. Other than that, and Barry, which I'm really liking on rewatch again, even though I've seen season 1 of that show 3 times now. I'm more excited to get to the other seasons. But movie wise, I guess I skipped over movies. The only main one I watched aside from Spider-Verse and other various Fast and Furious movies I'm catching up on.
Gosh.
I watched Thank You for Smoking. Have you heard of this?
I have not heard of this.
It's from like 2007. It's directed by Justin Reitman, who directed Juno and the newest Ghostbusters movie. But it's like the satire. It feels very much like a Don't Look Up. Like, what's his name? Whoever directed that. I can't.
Chris McKay?
yeah,
Adam
Chris-
McKay? I forget which one's which. One of them is the Lego Batman guy.
Adam McKay. Adam McKay is the guy who directed Don't Look Up, I'm pretty sure. Because he also does Succession.
Adam McKay.
He's our producer. Yeah, it's Adam McKay.
Okay.
Adam, it
McKay.
feels kind of like that. It's not as it's not quite as in your face as like Don't Look Up, but it's kind of a similar heightened like it's a take on like the tobacco industry and especially that was a big topic in like the mid 2000s, I remember. And so it's a satire on that star-studded cast. I wouldn't say I guess maybe not like A-listers, but it stars Aaron Eckhart's the main guy. But then,
really?
Yeah.
Mr. Two-Face.
Yeah. But then it's got a lot of other just names or faces you'd recognize. Though, what's his name? I can't remember. Oh,
Thank
Sam
you.
Elliott. Sam Elliott has
yeah.
a pretty good role in it. That's pretty enjoyable.
The Western guy.
Yeah.
Right? The
But
bro
the-
with the big voice
thing
and the
about
bigger
it,
mustache.
I thought the movie was like entertaining enough. But the most notable thing about it is it's like it was like hard to find. I honestly don't know if like that Voodoo listing actually works. Maybe you want to click on it. It might go and say it's
Oh
not
no, I
available.
downloaded a computer virus. No, it's there.
Oh no, it's there. Okay, well, I'm stupid then, or maybe it was added later because I remember like months ago I had heard of this movie. I was like, I want to watch it, and then it just wasn't anywhere. So I don't know if it got re-added. I ended up just buying a DVD copy of it.
Oh.
I bought it like used or whatever because I was
Where
like,
did you get that?
I think it was Last Stop.
The black market.
But yeah, it was somewhat entertaining. I think just it was
Well, you own it now, so
yeah.
thank
borrow
you
it
for
if you want.
smoking.
Yeah.
It was all right. Wow, ringing endorsement.
It was all right.
You compared it to Don't Look Up, and you said it was all right. So
Ringing endorsement.
ringing endorsement
Yeah.
from Holden.
I was disappointed, I'll say. It wasn't as funny as I thought it was going to be, unfortunately, but yeah, I did rewatch F9, Jimmy. Better than I remember. Maybe it was better because I didn't watch it with a downer like you, Jimmy.
What are you talking about? I don't think anybody had more fun with the first. I mean, outside the first flashback sequence, that next 15 minutes in the present day, because you're the first.
Yeah, the
most
first
scene,
chunk's good.
The first like that 15-minute set piece where they're in the jungle or whatever.
Hilarious.
They
just get right into it.
I don't think I've laughed harder in my life for that extended a period of time. I don't think I've had more fun in a theater. Close would be the Jackass 4 Silence of the Lambs.
Oh
bit.
yeah, that is good.
But I was just giggling. Holden was laughing just at how much I was laughing and enjoying.
Honestly, that was the funniest part. But
I gotta rewatch that part just for
it's
that.
good. I also forgot how funny the climax is, which has the truck flip and all
And
of
the
that.
magnets, right?
Yeah, the magnets, and there's. I forgot that they stop the truck by running it into a drone, like the drone.
Oh yeah,
is
and then
flying
you think
by.
Charlize Theron's dead.
Yeah.
and it's like she's just been playing
Playing a
it's a
video
drone
game.
because
Yeah.
she's just I was gonna say she's been like piloting the drone from afar, but I'm like that's a drone. That's why it's called a drone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but it's that all is funny, but I'm all caught up now, even though I was caught up before on rewatch. Video game wise, finished Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. It's the best one so far. I'm fully back into the series. I wasn't going to play 2 in a row, but I am going to now because I feel like I got to ride this high I'm on for Kingdom Hearts. I love the absurd plot. I think the Disney characters interacting with like serious anime characters is really funny. Yeah, I just, the series is a lot of fun. So
What would you play if you weren't going to play Kingdom Hearts?
thinking Ghostwire Tokyo. I haven't installed on my PS5. I was down between that and the previous Kingdom Hearts game I played. So and then I made the Kingdom Hearts decision. So I'll probably play that after this one I'm going to start. So
Nice.
what about you, Jimmy? What have you been doing?
Not much other than watching Barry through season 1. I thought season 1 had a very interesting ending. That I was surprised that they went to that place that soon in the show. If you haven't seen it, I would definitely check it out. I think it definitely gets better as you go.
Yeah,
I would say.
I agree.
First
season
couple
2 and 3
episodes,
are
I was
probably
like,
even better.
but I really enjoyed the first couple episodes of season 2 so far. Funny, exciting, interesting. But otherwise, watch the new Ted Lasso episode this week. Watch the new Succession episode this week. I'm telling you, man, that every Succession episode has been really solid. I think since the Connor's wedding episode. So you should check it out. Otherwise, I haven't really been doing much other than just catching up on the Spider-Verse by watching that. So
Sure.
that's where I'm at. Holden, so you can take us home. What are we doing next week, sir?
Well, next week we're doing Fast X.
Fast 10, Holden. Fast 10, your seat belt, as they say. It is
Fast 10
episode
your seatbelt.
200 of this show. My goodness, never thought we would make it to this point. That's for sure.
And what a movie to have for that one. Maybe I'll bring my Lego Fast and Furious car I have.
We can put it right.
Yeah, put it right
There's
there.
so much room on this huge fold-in table.
Well, and it has, like, I know you can't see it super well on the video right here, but it does have a stand that it can kind of sit at an angle. So, I mean, you could put it up on that.
Yeah. And then our audience listeners can really appreciate our listening audience can really appreciate that. So
But yeah, very excited for Fast 10. But other than that, if you want to leave us a request, you can do so by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes or email us at tomppodcast@gmail.com or donate to our Patreon.
I'm thinking there might be some new Patreon tiers coming. So just
Jimmy's hard at work revamping everything.
Yeah,
I appreciate what he's doing because he has a lot of time on his hands, apparently.
I don't. Yeah, I will. But
I'm kind of
just
surprised
been
you're doing
obsessed.
this now. I was kind of surprised you didn't wait a couple
I'm
weeks.
ready to go. I'm excited, Holden. Now or never.
All right.
I don't even know how I got down this rabbit hole, but I'm excited. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video version. If you're just listening to this, check out the video version for all that stuff. We're going to be putting the full episode on the TOMP channel for now. I think we'll eventually split to a podcast channel. But then we will also have our non-spoiler spoiler review on the main thing and maybe a clip or two, depending on if we have a news story that we really talk about. But that's where we're at now. So check it out. We'll also just do kind of other stuff. Holden's been working on anything, any videos you talk about your on cinema
at the cinema. Yeah, I actually I've written down I have some ideas down in writing. If I start with that, it's going to be a huge undertaking to start with that for my first video. So I don't know. Because what I want to do with that is very extensive. So could be over an hour at least.
Oh my gosh.
It's something that I feel like there's a lot to say and explore with it. We'll see. I don't know, but
that would be good because it's a very niche thing, Holden. So you could bring in a lot of niche listeners and viewers for us. So sweet. Awesome. If that's all that is there to be said, make sure you stay tuned for next week when hopefully we'll be back here. Hopefully everything worked.
Yeah. Hopefully we didn't just
wait a second. Why didn't I take the lens cap off the camera? All right. And hopefully this has sounded good to you. This is new microphones. Yeah, so fancy. Hopefully it's working for you. Otherwise, we'll catch you next week for our 200th episode, Fast 10. Fast X, as Holden likes to say. In the meantime, though, adios, pantalones.
Love you.
That One Movie Podcast.